Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Pitchline Chronicles. I'm Uncle Tats. I'm here with Donald. I'm here with Rob. And Yankees suffered their first loss last night, so it will not be an undefeated season. It is what it is, but there was a term that was used right before we went live by Donald. It wasn't embarrassing. Like, this wasn't one of those embarrassing losses like we would have suffered last year with an ace on the mound. Because the one thing that I took away from it was they still were grinding out the at-bats. The fifth inning, Gallen still had, he was up and, his pitch count was in the 80s. So they were really working the counts. They were, it wasn't for a lack of effort. But I thought that was the positive I took about it. They weren't trying to change their approach. They were trying to see if their approach this year thus far was going to pay off like it had the previous, 5 games. This is just baseball. You're going to take losses. So, we erase it. We move forward. What's done is done. And we just hope that this offense can have a bounce back because they were not sharp last night. They weren't able to get the gap hits, and move runners around. So, it's when you look at the teams we were going to start with, and Jones getting ahead of me here, with the Astros and the Diamondbacks, Astros have owned us. Diamondbacks, don't forget they were in the World Series last year. So this isn't like some, the Diamondbacks of a few years ago where they were just still trying to find out where they were at. These were 2 solid teams, and we actually did play well against them. The defense was, is still holding strong. Pitching wasn't as crisp and we'll get into Nestor too, because I don't know what we're going to do with him. I'm really losing my faith in Nestor. But let's go around the table. Rob, how you feeling about yesterday's game?
I don't think losing 7-0 is not embarrassing. I never want to get smoked around like that, but it was a 2023 Yankee game. That's how I see it. It was a bad game, but luckily for us, we're 5-1, so we can we don't really have to look too much into it. The at-bats were fine, but the fact that Trevino can't hit, and we have 6 of our 9 hitters are batting under 200 right now. I know it's 6 games. I know it's still incredibly early, but we need our key guys to hit. We need Judge to start hitting. We need Torres to start hitting. Rizzo's got to start hitting. I'm slowly losing faith in Giancarlo, and he was my pick to have the bounce back year. He's looked so bad, and I don't know what the answer is with him. It wasn't fun, I'll say that, but it wasn't a game that you watched that and you went, fuck this, the season's over. We're still 5-1. And there's a chance to win the series today, get a day off finally, go to the Bronx and open up the stadium on a high note. So hopefully they can do that, but I'm certainly not happy about the way that game was played. They had opportunities, couldn't cash in. Nestor, I think he might need an opener because he's great after the first inning, and he's terrible. He reversed. Last year he was terrible after the 4th.
Yeah.
He'd be good for 4, then bad for the 5th. And this year he's terrible in the 1st and he's good the next 4. I don't know what the heck his deal is. He's very interesting a very interesting pitcher to me, but I think once again he was able to bounce back, and then things just fell apart. The defense was terrible. There was the pass ball stuff late in the game. At that point it was too late anyway, but hey, take your lumps and hopefully they can bounce back tonight. That's all I can think of at this point. Go 6-1 and we're feeling great. Even if we're 5-2, we're feeling fantastic going home.
Yeah, considering the teams we're facing, 5-2, I'll take that. But Donald, let's get your take on the game and then bring us into the roll call.
Okay, well, I want to when I say it wasn't embarrassing, I want to address the fact that for the first half of the game, it was competitive. Our defense was actually pretty tight. They made an incredible defensive play to help Nestor Cortes out when it looks like he was going to give up a 6 spot on the board, and our defense pulled out a miraculous double play to keep the score at just 3. And then we had an opportunity when we had some great at bats from our red hot kids, and unfortunately we got to Trevino in the order, and I was like, oh, he's not doing anything, and he didn't do anything. And after Trevino screwed up the at bat, then that was like, this game's over. because this guy's really good. The guy in the face was really, really good. You're not going to get many opportunities, and that's kind of the reality. So there's kind of varying factors behind this. I think the fact that we don't have an off day, we haven't had an off day between the series, is certainly one thing. This has been an incredibly difficult start, and to start the season, in Texas and then Arizona is a difficult way to start a year without any off days in between. So I'm not looking for excuses. I think I'm just being realistic because normally there's usually a couple of days off to start to start the season. So it's been a little bit different. So I think we're due a quiet night, in my opinion. Now, I also think it's sometimes when you lose, it actually opens your eyes to certain things. And our eyes should be wide open to the fact that Nestor Cortes should not be in the starting rotation very long. He just doesn't have the stuff. Now, it's a statistical fact that Nestor Cortes is the weakest stuff in our starting rotation. By far, he has the weakest stuff. And I think there's a new analytical statistic which confirms that. By far, he has the weakest stuff of our starting five. I would hazard a guess that it's among the weakest stuff in the majors. It's certainly below average. And let's look at it. His fastball is a Luis Gil changeup. His cutter is not good. He tries these backdoor cutters, but he hangs them over the middle of the plate. His sweeper hangs over the middle of the plate. He's not finishing his pitches, and there's a lack of velocity there. And the only way he's going to get anybody out is by being crafty. And I don't think that he can do the crafty thing anymore, because partly due to the pitch clock and partly because I believe that teams have film on him now. They know exactly where he's going to go to, and it's pretty routine. His stuff isn't difficult to hit. I'm pretty sure if you gave me a couple of months in the batting cage, I'd probably start hitting some Nestor Cortes pitches. They're very difficult. They're very easy, man. They're just BP stuff, just hanging over the middle of the plate. And Arizona were just tattooing it all over the ballpark. Look at the fact that he had 10 base runners over 5 innings. Forget the 3 runs, right? He got lucky because our defense pulled a miracle out of the hat, a rabbit out of the hat, or it would have been 5 or 6 runs, right? He really got shelled, in my opinion, so I agree with CWE here. People are going to talk about, congratulations to him for going the 4 shutout innings. But to be honest, there was the 2 walks and then the 8 hits over 5 innings. That's 10 base runners. He doesn't have the stuff to survive that amount of base runners on. So I don't think he's good. I'm just going to say I don't think he's good. I think that we should have a short leash on him. And that's why I was beating the drum that we needed to add a starter over the offseason, because he was the only arm I didn't trust. But that aside, I'm actually not overly negative, because the fact is I think our rest of our team is pretty much perfect. Our outfield defense is pretty much perfect. Our defense in the infield is pretty much perfect. We've got lots of production from our kids. Volpe looks sensational. Ozzy looks sensational. And Wells looks great. So we're getting production from the kids. And the fact that we're 5-1 when only a third of our batting lineup is actually doing anything on a day-to-day basis is actually a positive for me. Because just wait till Aaron Judge and Rizzo get it together, and they'll start crushing it. Torres, his at-bats been getting better, so I'm not worried about him. The only person I'm concerned about is Stanton. We'll get into that. I agree with Rob. His at-bats are scary and not in a good way. But I'm not worried about Rizzo. I've seen some good at-bats from him. It's just he's kind of fallen in some bad luck. Aaron Judge missed about 3 pitches that he should have hit out of the yard yesterday. And that on a normal year, he would have crushed them. But he's just missing them. So that says to me he's going to be fine. It's just his timing's just a little bit off. Not worried about him either. The only person worried about is Stanton. He just can't hit right now. His at-bats are ugly. What I would do in the Nestor Cortes starts, we need to move off this Trevino being his personal catcher thing, because we can't survive his lack of offense in an Nestor Cortes start. We need Wells back in an Nestor Cortes start, because first of all, the defensive drop-off isn't that much. Trevino actually has quite a weak arm, and his pitch framing is the one thing that makes him stand alone. But it's not really a massive priority with Nestor Cortes. I'd probably prefer a little bit more athleticism that Wells has, and also his better bat that he has in the starts that Nestor Cortes is in, because Cortes is going to guarantee give you up a 3 spot, right, in an inning, and then you need your offense to bail him out. So that's why I would move away from Trevino being his personal catcher. It's not worth it. Garrett Cole can have a personal catcher, not Nestor Cortes. Sorry, bro. You don't earn that. So those are the few things. The rest of the team's pretty much rock solid, man. I love our bullpen. I love our defense, and I love our offense. And I love 4/5 of our rotation. So, hey, I can live with that. I can live with one bad starter. It's just, unfortunately, our bad starter is our number one starter as it's working out right now, which is obviously not ideal. But listen, I take 5-1 every single day. The reason why I didn't think it was embarrassing is because I think the game was pretty much over after Trevino didn't deliver that RBI opportunity. The Yankees just didn't have it this time. It's okay. We move on.
Yeah, look, the whole thing with the catcher, today's a day game, so you never throw. You always have, your catcher take the night off before a day game. I think that it just was. I think it's just a coincidence that they were both. His Trevino's 2 starts in the lineup were Nestor's starts. I don't think I don't think he's got a personal catcher. I think when opening day they gave Trevino as the veteran the nod to get the duties to catch, and with the day game today, I think they were trying to get Wells the night off, so he's not catching. Because they never use. You never see that where they have a catcher have a night. And they saw once they had the opportunity where they were. They did pinch hit with Wells, so Wells found his way into the game. So they did recognize that we got to get Trevino out of the lineup and get Wells in there.
Yeah, we only had one shot, and that was when we had the 2 runners on.
Yeah, no, yeah. But it's like, okay, it didn't work. Just in case this comes up again, let's have the right guy, in the batting order. And they did make.
Well, you're completely right about the night game, day game thing, and you're not going to have catchers catching all those. Yeah. I would have swapped it around where Trevino plays the day game today and Wells played last night, because I think we needed his bat rather than prioritizing defense, which was not a factor yesterday at all.
Yeah, but Rodon works so well with Wells. That's why they're probably going that route. So, because he pitched the second game Wells started against Houston. I mean, look, we know what Trevino is. He's a great defensive catcher, but that's it. Even his 2022, where he came up with some clutch hits, his offensive numbers weren't great, and those are his career highs. So we know what we're getting with Jose Trevino. We got to hope that someone like Narvaez or Ramirez or even a Ben Rice can come up and provide some offense as a backup catcher at some point in the future. But for now, Trevino is our backup. He's not going anywhere. We just got to hope that he can come up with a couple of hits here and there. But Austin Wells needs to play more in order to get his bat going, because he's a guy that's supposed to be a key contributor. But it's hard to do that when you're only playing every so often. So I understand why they did it this time around, day game after a night game, but he needs to play as often as possible. Maybe when Cole is healthy, which could be around June, you can have him start for Trevino start for Cole, and maybe you sprinkle him in for another guy. But it needs to be Wells more times than not, because he's clearly the better bat. There's a reason they pinched hit for him with Austin Wells, like you said, Tats. And I'll talk Aaron Judge for a second. He continues to get robbed on these low pitches in the zone. The fact that he hasn't exploded yet is surprising, because these umpires are terrible this year. They're off to a fantastic start in 2024. Let me tell you, these guys suck. And we need automatic strike zones immediately, because it's really bad. And the other night, because we haven't even talked about the first game yet, we're going to get to Luis Heel, but he missed one. He got robbed. He hit it right on the screw, and he got robbed of a hit. So I think he's close. Aaron Judge is going to break out, and when he does break out, it's going to be fun to watch. It's just we need it to happen sooner than later. We can't keep relying on the same 3 people to come with the big hit. I know it's only 6 games. I had 2 people tell me that last night on Twitter. It's only 6 games, even though my tweet said it's only 6 games, but I understand how early it is, but we do need our key guys to start hitting, because how are you going to win more games? Everybody's got to contribute in some way. So it's nice to see some guys drawing walks and having productive outs, but eventually you don't want Aaron Judge to be hitting 200. You want him to be hitting 280 or higher. You want Torres to be hitting 250 or higher with the power. You want Rizzo to be hitting 240 or higher. You want these guys' numbers to go up, and they will. It's just we need it to happen sooner, because we don't want to get into a potential losing streak because these guys can't hit. That's all I'm alluding to, because we saw how it happened last year. A bad April can screw you over. Just like 2 years ago, a good April really helped us. So you need to – April matters. April matters just as much as October matters. So I want to see these guys start hitting, and I know they will. But then there's Giancarlo Stanton. You can't trade him. So anyone – I just already saw my dad suggest it. You're not trading him because he's got a no fucking trade clause. He's not going to accept a trade anywhere. And who's taking him, first of all? So what do you do with him? You got to hope that he starts hitting home runs, and that's about it. You got to hope that he can just put a few over the wall every so often, because that's really all he's capable of right now. And I know it's, again, 6 games. It goes the same conversation for him. He had a terrible start to the spring and then got hot. Hopefully that can happen again, but his at-bats look filthy bad, and it's upsetting, because I had high hopes for the guy.
Yeah. By the way, everyone in the chat and everyone who watches, I have a barely used Giancarlo Stanton jersey, official, bought from Yankee Stadium, that is officially for sale as of today. So if anyone wants to get me, you're more than welcome. And we will discuss it price. Apart from my selling Stanton jerseys on eBay, let's get in the chat and let's say hello to everybody. The first comment I want to jump into is Norman Soto. Welcome to the chat. Hi guys, what do you think Ian Hamilton as a closer? So we had a similar discussion to this in a previous podcast. So I think me and Rob and Pats are pretty much in agreement that Ian Hamilton has the best arm out of our bullpen. He's got the best stuff. He is technically our best reliever, but in my opinion, baseball slightly changed, whereas the closer isn't necessarily the most important arm out of the bullpen in the modern era. A lot of it is the 7th, 8th inning. That tends to be now where the key outs are. And that's where you probably want your best reliever in. And that's what Ian Hamilton gives you. He can give you multiple innings of shutout ball. And, as long as your closer doesn't implode, then normally that's enough to win a game. And that's basically what's been happening to the point, because Clay Holmes has looked like complete trash. But he's not imploded. And we're still winning. So a lot of it is down to the fact that Ian Hamilton is completely locked down. So I think we're all kind of me and Robert discussed this, where we were pretty much in agreement that that he's probably best where he is. Where you guys chime in? What do you think?
No, look, Hamilton. I said it right from the jump on our season preview. He's our most important reliever this year. I think he's going to be the most impressive, and he has been. With Holmes, as much as he drives us crazy, he's also absorbed that, bend but not break mantra that I've attached to the pitching. So I mean, it's hard to really trash a guy that hasn't blown a save. Whether it's with that, even with the help of the defense, he's still the one that he's still keeping the ball on the ground for the double plays. So I don't want to really, like, if he was just getting tattooed, that's one thing. But like I said, he's become victim to the ban of the shift, because there are a lot of those ground balls with a shift on don't get out of the infield. So he'll have quicker innings. Let's see going forward as the season goes on, does Holmes make any adjustments? To his pitching, where he's not so much, because he's not going to be that strikeout pitcher. That's just, it's not who he is. Is he just able to limit the contact on the ball? Yeah, I think that's all we could watch and hope for. But if their hand is forced, I would have no hesitation to put Hamilton in the closer role.
TC is a good. That's a good point, Tats. TC is a good point, and this is probably where we're at. Save Hamilton, face the opposing team's best hitters, whether it be the 7th, 8th, or 9th. Yeah, that's pretty much in line with where we're at with that. If I was to have a set closer over the next couple of weeks, I want to look at Birdie in the setup role, see how he develops there, and then I would make him the closer because I think he's got stuff that's really good for one inning. I think he'd be an excellent closer and make Clay Holmes more of a situational setup man. That's kind of where I'm at. But let's see a little bit of everyone else in the chat. We've got Donnie Clark, who's saying salute to all of us. Frederick says Cousins needs time with Blake after last night. Yeah, Cousins is more like the ugly cousin. Joan Seco, we need a Yankees group prayer for a fast Dominguez return. Prayers up to Dominguez. TC agree. Medina Holmes should be a setup guy. I completely agree. Medina actually says that Hamilton should be the closer. I don't know how long they can keep Holmes as a closer. Well, I agree with the second part. I don't know how long they can possibly get away with keeping him as the closer. Jones says I do a combo of Birdie and Hamilton for the 7th, 8th, 9th. Dev Finch, salute. Dev thinks we're funny. Funny how? Funny how? Do I amuse you? Do I amuse you? Right. And what else have we got here? Oh, Stephen B. The umps have been bad. The umps have been an absolute, utter disgrace. I can't believe that Aaron Boone didn't come flying out of the dugout last night. Aaron Judge got hosed. He got completely hosed. And also, Anthony Rizzo got completely hosed. He checked his swing, and it was called a strike, and he had to walk, take a timeout, take a step for like 3 or 4 steps away from the umpire. He was that pissed. And I can't blame him. I'm surprised that none of the Yankees dugout was chirping. Because
like, who was it in the booth? Was it Cohen in the booth? He's going, look, usually I'm in favor of the pitcher. He's like, but, that one's kind of, I don't know about that one.
Oh, yeah, he called it a liberal strike zone, to say the least. That
I mean, it did look borderline, but
it did benefit Arizona. It was an incredibly liberal strike zone that did nothing but benefit Arizona because it jobbed all of our best hitters. Aaron Judge got completely done. So did Soto on a pitch. So did Rizzo on a pitch. Key pitches in certain at-bats, we got completely hosed because the umpire has no idea what a strike zone is. And by the way, this is not just one game. The previous series, there was at least one umpire. I don't care
across the league.
He was a freaking disgrace in the previous Astros series. There was one game that was umpired so badly that I had a Larry David meme where I was like, "Fuck," and that's how I felt like, "Fuck you" to the umpire because the umpire was a complete disgrace. So honestly, it's honestly long overdue now. I think we need to get robot umps. What else have we got here? Got TC Steele, we got Medina, we know. CWE says Nestor got shelled. He certainly did. Acevedo, Cortes cutter needs to be thrown outside corner for righty because it's a changeup for the batter. He needs to use corner and breaking ball. That's it. He needs to be crafty.
Yeah.
So I would say that I think that a catcher like Wells is actually more ideal for him because Wells is more athletic behind the plate, and I would set up more away, down and away. I don't want pitches up and in because they're just sitting there up high in the middle of the plate, and it's getting tattooed. So they need to find different strategies. But at the end of the day, it's going to be smoke and mirrors with Nestor Cortes because none of his pitches are plus pitches at major league level, in my opinion. None of them. So we'll need to do smoke and mirrors for a couple of innings and then have guys like Weaver ready to come in at a moment's notice, in my opinion. I'm not panicking because I just know what Nestor Cortes is now. I saw it all spring. That 8 ERA was not an anomaly. That's who he is. He's just not good anymore. So we just have to we have to move on from him. The sooner, the better. Salute to Mr. Barros. Salute to Cold Italian Pizza. Salute to you. Salute to Anthony Garcia. Joan, I agree with this. With the schedule, who thought we'd be 6-1 and 5-2? I completely agree. I think 5-1 is a freaking phenomenal achievement. So I agree with all that. Tony Clark says Dina, Nestor, and Rodon the weak links. And Mr. Barr says Nestor is a disaster. I don't think Rodon's a weak link.
No.
Rodon's our most important starter besides Stroman. But Medina, well, yeah, I mean, I'm not a big fan, but he's a fine backup catcher. Nestor, I'm done with, to be honest. But yeah, I think that covers it. And anyone who hasn't, hit the like button and hit the sub button.
Also, don't forget this Saturday for the live stream fundraiser for Parkinson's awareness. So we will be live pretty much 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The last hour we'll be actually watching the game because it's a 7:00 game. But we also have a lot of friends coming to help us out for the cause. And just to give you a quick, I was going to wait, but we're working on some graphics for the promotionals, so you'll hear it here first. Some of the channels that are going to be joining us are some of the channels and the hosts that you all love. So joining us throughout the day, Jason from 161 River Avenue, he'll be joining us for a spot. We got NFE from the Strike Zone, Mazda from 4 Train Express. We got Chris and Patrick from Talking Rivals podcast. Great guys if you don't know them.
Chris
Vitale from Ball 9 will be hanging out with us.
My God.
We'll have Damian Serrano joining us. And we will also have, and I know we'll have the Morning Brew Sports crew. They're going to be joining us. Yep. So TC, Hector, and Jigga Man will come and throw. Yep. And we also were able to. We also have Pete from NYYU. With his chaotic schedule, made sure to give some of his time up for a great cause. So make sure you tune in. And you don't know who else might be thrown into the guest list. So really, it's something that we are standing by very strongly. And we want this to be a success so we can continue doing it year after year for a good cause. So back to the Yankees. Listen, I saw in the comment here, it was from, I think it was, I'm going to try to find it while I'm talking. Oh, Donnie here, the robot arms, right? They're going to put people out of work. No, they're not. Because if you watch the Futures game, they had the robotic arm. That was where they tried it on the main on the main stage, right, with all the eyes on that game. And the way, and this was, Susan, I was listening at work. Susan Wolman was talking about it, how it, especially with Judge, because they're saying, they have to adjust the strike zone because Judge is not going to get any smaller, and it's true. Judge gets screwed more often than not. And I also saw that they even put numbers up on the S broadcast that he's got 192 cold strike threes below the knee. Right, the next one, I think, and then the next one below him, I think it was 98 pitches. So he's got over 100 pitches or more. He's getting screwed more than any other player in the league with cold strikes below the knee. So with the robot umps, the way that Susan Wallman explained it, and I didn't even know this part of it, is you get to challenge the call 3 times. Once by the pitcher, once by the catcher, once by the hitter. So how they're gonna, if that system's gonna stay or they're gonna tweak it.
Could you repeat that, Tats? Because your line broke up there, Tats. Could you repeat that last bit?
So you're going to have one, you're able to challenge it once by the pitcher, once by the hitter, once by the catcher. Now, I don't know if they're going to tweak it at all, as they continue to work this out, because there are going to be kinks to it. But when they want to challenge, you know how you have that box on the TV? That'll show up on the Jumbotron so the umps can see if they got it right or if they got it wrong and make the adjustment. So
also, you need someone standing behind home plate to call the strike, because they're going to get it from the system and they're going to tell the umpire what to call. So it's not like there's going to be nobody there and you're going to hear a robot go strike one. No, there's still going to be an umpire behind home plate. It's good. That's how it's going to work. So no one's going to be out of a job. It's just going to make the umpire's job easier, because then now if they say like, hey, that was a ball, the umpire will be like, hey, it wasn't my call. I actually think that benefits the umpires. Angel Hernandez is going to be like, don't yell at me, man. Yell at the TV. What are you going to do? Aaron Boone's going to run up to the screen? Is Aaron Boone going to run up to the Jumbotron and start screaming at it? So I think this benefits the umpires, actually. I want the automatic strike zone. I've seen how it works when they challenge. I think they tap their helmet, and then you'll see it on the screen. They'll show where it would be. So I think we need it, because these umpires are continuously wrong. It's terrible.
Yeah, no,
I've got images of this robot going strike one.
You see Rosie from the Jetsons.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Rosie from the Jetsons standing behind home plate. Right.
Do you know, it gives me it reminds me of when I went to Yo Sushi in Edinburgh in Scotland, and a robot waitress zoomed to my table in a kilt asking if I wanted any beer.
Wait a minute, a robot in a... Did you get a picture of that?
A robot waitress.
You have a picture of it.
With sushi and a beer, and was like, would you like beer? And I'm like, yes, thank you very much. Take the beer off it.
No freaking way.
It's the greatest thing in the world. So
I got to see that. I need to see a picture of that.
The robot had it killed. Fantastic. It was me and my dad were like, damn, we need this at home.
But no, and it does. And with Judge, look, it's gonna come together for him. He didn't have the cleanest spring, so I don't want to go too crazy with Judge. Rizzo, look, I'm not over. I'm starting to get a little. I'm watching closely. I don't want to say I'm starting to lose faith in him, but I'm watching. I mean, but I'm Rob's right. Stanton's again fell into the weak link mantra. And we know he's not going to be playing the field. The only thing we need you to do is make contact with the ball, and you're having trouble doing that. What's really pissing me off with Stanton is he reverted right back to swinging into the other batter's box. Like, he's completely just not seeing the ball. Maybe he just needs an eye exam. Maybe he should borrow Glaber's glasses for a little while, and start hitting again. Because, I don't remember who said it in the chat, but it's taking away the protection for Rizzo. So now they're not going to pitch Rizzo properly because they know Stanton's behind them. So they can be a little more cautious with Rizzo and not pitch as aggressive, and give Rizzo the chance to lay into one. So it all, the dominoes are not lined up properly at this point. And Stanton's that domino that's just not in line.
Maybe they need to flip the lineup a little bit. Maybe just flip Verdugo and Torres and put Stanton behind Torres. This way there's better protection for Rizzo. I didn't want to do it, but I mean, and again, it's only 6 games right now, but you need to get Torres going. You need to get Verdugo going. You need to get Stanton going and Rizzo. These are all key bats. I have no question. There's no question Judge will get going, but if you have Verdugo in front of Soto, he'll get better pitches to hit, you'll think. Mm-hmm. And if Torres is protecting Rizzo, that'll help him out. I mean, maybe you do that flip. I don't want to put Volpe there just yet. I know he's tearing the cover off the ball, but I still think it's too early for him. I want to see him do it over a longer period of time before I be like, all right, let's put him lead off, because if he does struggle, then it could hurt his progression. He's seeing the ball so well right now. I don't want to screw that up, but they might not have a choice if both Torres and Verdugo are hitting the way they're hitting, which is not hitting at all. So they might have to think about it. I still think Dominguez is the better overall leadoff hitter when he's healthy, but that's not going to be for 2 months. But that's why I don't want to move Volpe up there, because if he does start tearing the cover off the ball, Dominguez might have to be batting like 7th or 8th. I just think Dominguez has the better skill set for the leadoff spot. However, if Volpe continues this, they might not have a choice. So we'll see what they do, but they got to figure out the leadoff spot, because right now Torres is not hitting and Verdugo's not hitting.
I agree. I think you need to drop Stanton in the order, and I think you need to swap the leadoff man spots. So if it's Verdugo or Volpe, they should be leading off. I mean, it's hard to argue against Volpe, though, because he's seen so many good pitches that and he's working so many deep counts. I think he'd be perfect in the leadoff role with his speed as well. It's underrated, but Verdugo for sure is a really good option. But I don't think Torres is a leadoff hitter. I really don't. I think he's a middle of the order bat. And if you added his protection either in front or behind Rizzo, and then move Stanton down a spot, I think that would work so much better for our lineup. But I do give Ben a lot of credit because he's kept the lineup consistent, and was something we've been crying out for. But I just don't think that Torres is at his best as a leadoff guy. And Stanton has a massive hole in his swing, and it's a well-known fact he can't hit sliders low and away. If a slider starts at the middle of the zone and then drops off in the other batter's box, he's swinging 100% of the time out of 100. He can't see that pitch. That is what's known in the industry as a massive hole in the swing. It's very easy to pitch to him. Very easy. Just don't give him fastballs, and he's going to swing right through it. And right now, he's still behind on the fastball because if you give him a bunch of off-speed, low and away, he's swinging because he can't see them. He can't see that pitch. The only thing he can see are fastballs down the middle of the plate. So just don't throw him a fastball down the middle of the plate, and you should be fine. That's why we need to be worried about Stanton. I'm not ready to give up on him, but I think at his age, his injuries, and the fact that he's not had a hot streak since he was an all-star in the first half of the season, like 2 years ago. That's basically the last hot streak he's had. I think at this point we need to be realistic and say that he should be moved down to towards the bottom of the order, and then hope that Dominguez and Spencer Jones come back. Or Spencer Jones develops quick, and Dominguez gets back quicker, because I think Stanton's time is coming to an end. I think he'll be out by next year. I don't see him standing.
Well, if this keeps up, yeah, they might have to.
It's just he's becoming a liability, and it's a shame. He's such a great dude. I'm a big fan of his, but he's 34. There's no upside coming.
Yeah, no, and I don't think anybody was laughing about Volpe being in the leadoff spot, Donnie. I just, coming off of last year, it wasn't, the start of the year wasn't the right time to do it. Right? Like, let him build himself, let his confidence continue to build a little bit at the plate before. That's why I'm not moving him into the leadoff spot just yet either. Him and Cabrera are very comfortable where they are in the lineup right now. Leave them alone because they're productive in their spot. The only thing I would do is switch Torres and Verdugo and see if that switch just gets them going. Then if that starts to work, because I don't want to start tinkering with the lineup too much, because our complaint always was you never know what the lineup's going to be. They're giving everybody a role in the lineup, and they, so far in the 6 games, they've been consistent with it. So let's not start complaining about that now, because look, this is what we asked for. But it's only 6 games. Maybe for the homestand, on that starts Friday. Maybe that's when they're like, all right, let's make that switch. Let's put Verdugo first and move Cortes to 5 or 6, and go from there and see if that jump starts them. So that's what I would do. I don't know what the Yankees are going to do.
I just don't think they want two lefties at the top of the order. That's the only thing. Verdugo, Soto. They want the balance because right now it's righty, lefty, righty, lefty. Like they're doing a pretty good job balancing it out. So that's the only thing. That's why I want Dominguez up there because if he's going up against the right or lefty, he can bat righty, or if he's going up against, and then you can have the extra lefty. They want more lefties. They want as much lefties as possible, but I don't think they want to lump them up together too much. But again, they will start hitting. Verdugo's a good hit.
Where he's always been.
No, because Soto's killing it right now.
Yeah.
I mean, if LeMahieu wasn't hurt, he'd be batting leadoff. I don't think we'd really have this issue right now. I think LeMahieu would be probably hitting better than Torres at this point. But again, 6 games. Torres is a good hitter. He's proved that the last 2 years, that he's still a very good hitter. He's not the guy he was in 2019 with the juice ball, but he's still a good hitter. And I want to see Volpe steal the bases more. He's not run at all. Why are they not having him steal? He's your only speed guy in this lineup, and they're not using that. I want to see that a little bit more. He's getting on base a ton. Maybe I want him to have another 25, 30 stolen base year, but that's what I said the other day. I think I had the under on his stolen bases because they just don't steal bases. And I want them to start doing that more because Volpe's your only fast guy right now. Until we have a lineup that has Dominguez and Jones, Volpe's your speed guy. Try to use that. And maybe that would be used more in the leadoff spot. So maybe they try that out, but I still think it is too early because he's hitting so well where he is. That's my only thing. I can see it happening. I think it's a little too soon.
Rob's dad is a good lineup here. Volpe, Soto, Judge, Rizzo, Torres, Verdugo, Cabrera, Stanton, Wells. Pretty much really nice mixture between lefties and righties. It's a good idea.
Yeah, it's going to get to the point where you're going to have to start sliding Stanton further down the lineup. So but I don't know. I like Cabrera in the 9th spot. I like him as that. Once you get through the first turn of the order, it's like that double leadoff guy. And it's not a punishment on Cabrera. I just think that's where he would be highly effective.
Yeah. And Sunil with the run-on sentence to join in the chat. Thank you. Welcome, Sunil. Good to see you. I don't know what he. Good morning, fellas. Screw the umpire metrics. Hitter-friendly umpire. Screw our. Okay, now I see what he's trying to say. All right, I got him. I got you, Sunil. Just need some punctuation in there because run on sentence.
Oh, and also
for anybody comment now, I'm like, right, which point are we on first?
For anybody that doesn't know, if you guys could throw some prayer hands in the chat, our friend Chris Rodriguez, who worked with me and Sunil on the After Dark, is dealing with some personal issues right now, and that's why he's kind of been out of the spotlight a little bit. So, Chris, we hope everything turns out well for you, and definitely keep us posted. I know him and Sunil had a nice conversation. So Sunil was kind enough to get me updated. And so we all know Chris. We all like him. He's a great guy. So, but Chris, our thoughts are with you. When you get to the final, let's get into this final game of the series before we sign off, because when you go into the rotation the second time around, you have to what would you expect to see? Say either the same or a different approach with Rodon on the mound. Like what are we hoping to see from Rodon today? More from the game one, his first game, or would you tweak anything?
I think he needs to stay with the stuff that works, because when he tries too much to mix in that cutter, it doesn't necessarily work very well. He was able to battle his last start, but you want to see more length out of him. We can't afford another 4-inning start right now because our bullpen is already kind of taxed out. So if we can get maybe 6 out of Rodon, I'm assuming he's going to have a higher or a longer leash on him tonight. If we can get 6, anywhere between 5 and maybe 7 out of him would be fantastic. We need it, and just keep us in the game like he did last time. That's all we can ask for. And then he'll eventually start to build up his arm more, and he'll be effective. He looked fine. He did in his last start. I need to see more length, because right now our rotation does not give us a lot of length. And, we haven't even talked about Luis Gil yet. He was able to really give us a strong outing the other night, but he had a pitch count. And that's what you see a lot of the times early in the season. Certain guys will have pitch counts, but I need Rodon to go at least 5, maybe 5 1/3 or 2/3 tonight because we need the length.
Yeah, no, we're going to bring up Hill in a little bit. I want to close the show on a positive. So we'll bring up Hill and close it out. But that's why I want to get to today's game before we get to the first game. So we're kind of shuffling it up a little bit for positivity. So, but no, with Rodon, I'd rather look. The length will come. You don't usually see pitchers go too deep in their pitch counts. The first couple times in the season. But as long as he can get us to, if he can get us to the 6th inning, 6 1/3, 6 2/3, keep us in, and depending on the score, make your decision from there, what you want to do, how his stuff looks. If he's looking like he's still got, something left in the tank, let him go. Because like you said, even though we have the off day, before the homestand, that bullpen needs to breathe, because that's been also the thing that kills the Yankees every year is we burn our bullpen out so freaking fast. And after yesterday, and I don't want to add the pressure to Rodon, but right now he's our star pitcher, until Cole is back. And so he's gotta bring it. That's it. Just get it, just like you did. Keep us in the game, and get us give the bullpen a break. Don't have them having to warm somebody up in the 4th, 5th inning, because that's gonna aggravate me. Donald?
Well, you're 100% spot on with the fact that at this rate, our bullpen is going to be pretty taxed by June. By the time Cole's hopefully going to be ready. It's one of my major concerns with this rotation, because Cortes, you're lucky to get 4 innings out of him of a decent standard. Clark Schmidt, he's a 5-inning guy. Any more than that, his secondary and tertiary pitches start getting tattooed a little bit. So that's a little bit. That was always a little bit of concern. And Luis Gil, they're not going to want to overextend him because he just had Tommy John last year. So I'm not going to say that there's a job of rules or necessarily an innings limit on him, but they'll be keeping an eye firmly on his pitch counts each outing. So that means that there's an extended pressure on Rodon and Stroman to give quality innings every single time they're out there. Rain or shine, good stuff or bad stuff, they need to provide at least minimum 6 innings of decent ball in order to help our bullpen, because it's going to get taxed the other 3 outings. That's just the way it's going to be. So that's why I wanted another. I keep saying it, but that's why I wanted another starter. But hey, maybe that's why they've taken out Clayton Beater after his 3 pitches. I still kind of work that out. Maybe they were actually wanting to extend him into a starter, work him out as a starter, and then eventually have him be a potential rotation candidate to replace Nestor Cortes in the next couple of weeks. Maybe that's how they're going to plan on doing it. Fingers crossed, right? But back to Rodon. He has to give us at least 6 quality innings. But I don't doubt that he can do it. But don't sleep on Arizona. This is a heck of a team. They spent a lot of money in free agency. We're only talking about the Yankees, but Arizona are a very good team. They're actually better than the team that made the World Series last year. They spent at least $60 million in free agency just this offseason. And they signed a lot of guys. They signed Montgomery. They signed a lot of decent guys. And so they're a legit team. They're a good team. They have a good rotation, very strong rotation. We saw what their guy did last night against us. And and they've got Jordan Montgomery as well. So they've got a talented rotation and a good lineup. So whatever happens, it's like we don't want to make such a big deal out of it because we're on the road to a team that made the World Series last year. So, but I'm hoping that Rodon gives us 6 quality innings and gives the bullpen a break. And if more than a third of our lineup turns up, then we have a very good chance of winning.
Yep. Yeah, look, with Hill, look, you didn't get the, they pulled him out of, 1 out before you qualified for the win, but they said in the pregame, they wanted to get 85 pitches out of him. They took him out at 84. It sucks, but hey, I think right now to start the year, Hill is the guy that, you stick to your script. It's not like a Stroman or a Rodon where they're seasoned guys where you can, kind of trust them if they say they have another batter in them. So I'm with Hill, I'm being very careful because I also don't want to overextend his arm because you don't know, you can go batter to batter, but what if the next at bat he had a 10, 12 pitch at bat? Now you're overexhausting. What's going on, Rich? So now you're overexhausting his arm for one more out. I think because it's the first time through the rotation, the surgery he's coming back from, when you really start to break it down, the Yankees, by sticking to their plan, it was the right move. Because, you don't want to make that mistake of screwing him up because who else do you have right now?
Yeah, and I like that he had to battle through a little adversity there in the middle of that game. I think it was the third inning. There was a few guys on. Yeah. Second or third inning, he had I think there was 2 on, nobody out, or something along those lines, and he was able to only give up 1 run, and it was on a sac fly, I believe. So that tells me that his stuff's moving well because a lot of times you'll see a young pitcher coming back from injury, and he'll get tattooed right there. He'll give up 3 runs in that inning, but he kept the damage limited to 1. Kept us in the lead and kept us to win that game eventually with the bullpen doing its job. So that was a great sign. He struck out a bunch of batters. His fastball was touching triple digits. That tells me that arm is healthy. There's not much we have to worry about there, but I'm okay with it. I was talking to Donald about it actually when he pulled them. We were like, what are they doing? We both were like, he probably had a pitch count. They probably had a number and he came close to the limit. And I said that big ass smile on his face tells me that he's not too worried about not getting the win. So I mean, he's happy about his performance. The Yankees seem happy about his performance, and I'm happy. I'm thrilled for the guy. He looked really good out there. And it's going to get me more excited for his next start when he'll probably have maybe 95 to throw, maybe an extra 10 pitches, and then eventually he'll have no limit at all. And they might have a soft innings limit. They said there's no limit, but we all know there is. They just won't announce it. But if this is the way you keep him in the rotation and make sure you monitor his arm after every start, that's perfectly fine because his stuff is disgusting and we need that in the rotation. And eventually someone like Warren or Beater could take over the spot from Cortes, but Warren hasn't looked good so far. His first start in AAA, he got shelled, but he's still got a lot of potential. They have other arms they can call on. They added 3 different pitchers over the last few days, but one of them is hurt. Brubaker is on the IL. They added Bickford to the bullpen minor league deal, so they could call up some guys here and there. That Scranton shuttle is going to be moving all season long. So hopefully we see more out of Hill next time in terms of pitch count. But first start, absolute passed it with flying colors. He looked great.
Yep. Yeah, not good.
Could anyone decipher this? Donald looks like he's about to go on a walk. Where am I walking to?
I have no idea where you're walking, but what's going on, Jacob?
Too bad, Jacob. Be walking all over your ass. That's where I'm going to be walking. All right.
A little quick fire before we do go.
Hey, what about me talking about Luis Hill? He's my boy, goddammit.
Go ahead. I thought you went first. My bad.
Luis Hill's my boy. I knew he I knew it as soon as he had that 8 strikeout game against the Phillies that he was our starter. I mean, it was great. The Yankees knew it too, because I think they were on the verge of sending him down, and then he did that 8th inning the 8 strikeout game against the Phillies, and I'm like, oh shit! Actually, you know what? he's going to be our rotation candidate. So I think that I think he's got some of the best stuff in the rotation. I think it's probably just behind Rodon is the best stuff in the rotation. He's got elite stuff. His fastball touches 100. He's got a really nice slider, and he's worked in his changeup, and his changeup looks really good. It's a really nice change of pace. His changeup is around about 89, 90, and his fastball is 100. That's a really nice differential right there, and his slider moves really nicely. So I'm just super impressed with Luis Gil. I completely disagree with taking him out after 4 2/3 innings with no one on base like that. I just give him the chance. There was no prospect to that team coming back. Give him one more at bat. He was on 82 pitches. I think
84.
I think the max was like 85. I would have given him one more batter. If the guy got on, fine, take him out. But I think give him one chance to get the 5 innings. One more batter. What's making it up to 87, 88 pitches going to make 5 pitches isn't going to make a big difference. I think he should have gone the shot. If only also to give our bullpen a bit of a break too. But more importantly, how nice would it have been for our top prospect or one of our top prospects to get a W in his belt in his first start against the World Series runners-up. I think that means more. And you could tell David Cohn's pissed at it. Not pissed, but he was sort of like, I don't like it. And then Michael Kay was trying to defend it, and he's like, no, I still don't like it. So God bless David Cohn, because I think that was the only misstep that Boone's actually made so far. And it's not really a big misstep because it didn't do anything but other than optics. But you also know that April first start, there's pretty much a strict pitch count, and then his pitch count was a strict 85. Rodon and Stroman are more in the 90s, 100 kind of zone. So it's not a big deal, but just pure optics. But in terms of Luis Gil, I love the guy, and for me, he's got the best stuff of our starter. I think Beater's going to be a really good high leverage reliever, but hey, maybe he could be a starter. I love him as out of the bullpen. Warren, I need to see a little bit more of him. He doesn't blow me away. He looks all right. For me, Luis Gil's got the best stuff. He's the guy that just blows me away. Every time he comes out there, he just blows me away. He's got fantastic stuff. And his stuff is too good to be out of the bullpen. But that slider change-up fastball that touches 100, that's crazy. That needs to be developed. So, anyway, I'm really, really happy for Luis Gil. And I'm delighted for the Yankees because all our worries about our rotation, Luis Gil has solved a lot of those worries. Now, we still have a worry regarding Cortes, but Luis Gil is not someone to worry about. He's going to be someone that's going to be a big part of our future. And I'm very, 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 very excited about that. What are you guys laughing at?
I'm laughing at Mr. Barrows here. Yeah,
I'm laughing at Sunil lying about his age. There ain't no way he's 51. No way about that. I don't know why you're lying.
Mr. Barrows, thanks for hanging out. Why? What did Sunil say? I missed that one.
He said he's turning 51, and he's going to be a better DH than Giancarlo Stanton. First of all, you're not 51. Quadruple that. You might be closer. And you're not a better DH than Giancarlo Stanton. I can tell you that right now. Stop lying about your age, Sunil. Not going to fool me.
So,
too disrespectful. Far too disrespectful.
Before I do, got to take the mascot out for a walk. Let's get our score predictions for tonight, and then Friday when we come on when the series complete, we'll do our grades and our awards for then for the series overall. So, what do we think for the final score for today's game?
Yankees 5, Diamondbacks 3.
Damn, that's my prediction. Good job.
I'd say 6-5 Yankees. I think they're going to pull it off. I think they're going to win the series. But I think it's going to be I think we're going to see a couple more runs than we have. So I'm going to go 6-5. It's going to be close. So, all right. With that, hopefully we'll see how the games go. Donnie's saying 7-5 Yanks. Let's see how that middle of the order pans out, because they're kind of, they're not pulling their weight 100%. So between Joe,
What am I, Casper the Friendly Ghost? You bypassed me twice. You're gonna ask my prediction.
You said the same as Rob. Go ahead.
You still could have asked if I have another one, but that's fine. I'll go 5-3, just like Rob.
Donald got screwed today. I'll tell you. Maybe that's why the dog is scratching her head button the door.
Well, it's funny, right as he said that, the sun that Sunil hates so much right over his face, so you kind of did look like a ghost. Right as you said, what am I casting? Sunil's biggest enemy, the sun.
Right? I hope everybody did enjoy the show.
Casper the Friendly Ghost still managed to get to start. Pretty good work.
If you haven't already, hit that like button, hit that sub button, share this out with your friends, your family, the stranger on the corner. It's been another very fun episode of the Pinstripe Chronicles. And as we always say, wear your pinstripes with pride and play hard.
Play harder than Cortes.